I want to talk to you about fighting for the life that you want. And that's something that we're looking at with admiration with the people in Ukraine. These people are fighting. And it's really like David and Goliath. He had 5 stones, but he only used one. And I think that was the stone of determination, the stone of faith, the stone of perseverance. When you think about where things are there's several things that come up for me here. That we have a similar situation right here in the United States. We're dealing with police departments who, for the most part, they are serving people. They serve and protect the dominant culture, but people of color, they terrorize and murder. It's a whole different thing. And there's something I remember by Claude McKay. Where is that paper? I saw something by Claude McKay, and it reminded me of these powerful words by Claude McKay. It was something that Claude McKay did. He was a poet from Jamaica, went to New York, and it was a piece that Claude McKay did called If We Must Die. I want to find that piece because it speaks to where if you want to have something in life, you got to be willing to go to the left for it. You got to be willing to fight for it. Frederick Douglass said something that I love very much. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. People that dominate you and that control you, they're not just going to give that up and walk away. No, you got to fight, and you've got to be willing to fight to the death in order to get the things that you want. Give me the Claude McKay piece that we were talking about earlier. And so when you look at where you are, anything that has any value that you want to create in your life, it's something else. Frederick Douglass, he said, we might not get everything we fight for, but everything we get, there will be a fight. So when you think about your life in and out of the pandemic, and that there are forces, white supremacists, that infiltrate the majority of police stations and operations in the country, that we have to be willing to fight for what we want. And people trying to turn back the hands of time, trying to deny us the opportunity to vote, working relentlessly to deny marginalized people opportunities in an unequal environment. It's a continuous fight. And so I want to focus on something about this. This is symbolic. One, the recklessness of Putin, that there are people in life, short-term thinking, driven by ego, that think that they can just bully and pounce on people and think that everybody will stand by and watch. Something that one rabbi said that I love very much. He said, when something happens, 3 things are going on. One, there's the perpetrator, and they're the victims, and they're the witnesses. And the question is, who's the worst? And the answer is the witnesses. People who stand by and do nothing. People who stand by and say nothing. And one of the great things about what's going on now in this country and around the world, that people have awakened. I remember the demonstrations, and I found it hard-worthy when George Floyd was murdered by a cop and the cops that were with the murderer. They stood back and they watched. At any point in time, they could have intervened and said, come on, it's 4 of us and 1 of him. He's handcuffed, he's down, and we're on top of him. But they didn't do that because they don't recognize your humanity. When you're in a country that does not recognize your humanity, and that most certainly is in America, then it's a different kind of environment. When you come from home, you are terrorized. You face when you're driving, that you're in an environment where you're going to be terrorized or murdered by those who are sworn to protect and to serve. And so when you have goals and dreams that you want to achieve, there are systems that are put in place to deny you, to destroy your sense of self, and to demonize you. And the way that you overcome that, you got to fight. I'm encouraged. I'm inspired by what's taking place in the Ukraine. That those Ukrainians have said, no, this is not the life that we want. We want the life that we are now experiencing. We don't want someone to control our destiny. That's powerful. That's encouraging. God is in the midst of all this stuff as we watch, as we observe. And I'm saying to you, as you look at yourself, look at your goals, that everything you want to do, if it's changing your life, if it's having your own business, if it's bouncing back from a setback, and many people have experienced that. Many people have lost their businesses, have gone through foreclosure, gone through evictions. Many people, their businesses have gone under, but something that Willie Jolly said, that a setback, come on, Willie, a setback is a setup for a comeback. You got comeback power. And when you know that, I remember when I was on the ropes dealing with 4th stage cancer, that those words stayed in my mind. I remember the words of Bob Proctor, who just passed a couple of weeks ago, that Bob talked about your mindset and your willingness to do what's required to move your life forward to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's going to take everything in you. A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough, but make sure you do all you can do. And since Bob Proctor's transition, I've been reflecting on my own life, because we all have an expiration date. And I ask myself constantly, if you had your life to live over again, Les, could you have done more than what you have done thus far? And the truth is, yes. I'm ashamed. I could have done more. And I'm still here. I still got some time. I can still speak. I can still make a difference. Somebody said, why don't you do something other than just speak? To do something where you can have some fun. I said, are you kidding me? I have fun speaking. Are you kidding me? I have a ball changing lives. I want you to think about this. Live your life in the way that you want to live your life. When it's time for me to go, I will still be speaking. Come on, somebody. Well, oh, behave. Yes. And I have a lot of fun. We did some training in Orlando, and I was masked up. I got a plastic mask. I got all kind of masks up in here. Let me tell you something. Nobody's hooked up more than me. And we had a ball. I got, I got masks. See here, homemade playing. Where's my plastic mask? I got it. See, I got everything up in here. When I came in there, they said, what was that guy's name? I forgot. The Silence of the Lambs. I got everything up in here. Yeah, where's my plastic mask? Hey, Maui. Oh, here it is. I got everything, honey. Look here. This is how I'm going to the airport today. I'm going back to Atlanta. So this is what I'm doing. I don't even fly anymore. But I had to come to do my seminar. So this is what I got going, okay? All right, okay. Then, in addition to this, I got everything, baby! You want that movie to call The Silence of the Lambs?
That's
So, look here. If a dog sneezes around me, I'll get up and run. But let me tell you something. So I'm masked up. Do you hear me, homie, playing? Listen to this. This is by Claude McKay. This is a bad boy. He's a bad brother. This is not the front of it. If we must die, where's that? No. Oh, this is the small print up to the top. All right. Listen to this. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while around us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accused lot. Winston Churchill, he loved this. He said, if we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men, we'll fight the murderous, cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Come on, somebody. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, when you look at that, they got people, senior citizens like me, making Molotov cocktails. Am I right?
Yeah, they have a factory.
They have a factory doing it in their garages. Everybody. I mean, they're men who have taken their families, the women, across the border, and then they come back to fight for the life that they want. And there are people sitting around just watching. Let me share something with you. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Have they not been willing to fight? And trust me, the people who are watching, they admire them and say, wait a minute. These people are fighting. They're not just letting Putin with his crazy self just come in and take over the country because he wanted to. They're putting up a fight. The people are standing in front of tanks. Say, no, you're going to run me over? Do what you need to do. But we're going to fight you. And then those Russian troops, many of them don't even know why they're there. Some of them say they've been driving around to run out of gas because they don't want to fight these Ukrainians. They were lied to. And so when you think about this place, what we're watching at this time, as if the pandemic wasn't enough, now this madness. And you better believe, even though it's thousands of miles away, it's affecting our collective consciousness. What happens to any of us happens to all of us, even though it's thousands of miles away. Oh boy, no man is an island, no man stands alone. When you think about where we are in this point in time, I'm encouraging all of you for your prayers and support of the Ukrainian people, and for us to reflect on our own lives and our own battles that we have here. We have our own stuff here. But police departments are being run and controlled by white supremacists. We got our own stuff here. And I say to you that when they know that we mean business, that you're not going to just continue to terrorize us and murder us and get away with it like you've been doing for centuries, trust me on this. They're going to begin to respect us, saying, no, they're not being pushed around and looked past, and they are willing to stand up for each other. That's it. And they fear if the Ukraine joins NATO, and that's the message I want to talk to you about right now. They fear Russia don't want the Ukrainians to join NATO. Why? Because if you attack any of us, you attack all of us. And there's a message in that this is a time that you want to develop a mindset of liberation, a mindset of determination, and you want to develop your skill set, learning all that you can. And because if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. But the other piece that's major is developing strategic relationship alliances. That's why I'm talking to you now. They don't want them to join NATO, because if you affect and impact or attack anybody in NATO, you got to fight all of them. And he doesn't want to see that happen. He doesn't want them to do that. And when we come together around our values, come together with a determination to stand up for a better future for our children, when we develop strategic alliances, communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, there's some power in that. Because you can't make it by yourself in this thing called life. There could always be some battles. There's some evil people in this world. And I don't have to tell you that. You know that. And you have to protect yourself from them. I remember when I was working at WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio, and Eddie Saunders, who was the assistant program, no, he was the program director for a long time. And Eddie was the vice general of the radio station. And he used to box, and Eddie was in his 70s and I was in my 20s. And I said, Eddie, I heard you used to box. He said, yes. I said, you know what? I think I'll just run over there and slap you side the head, see what you do. He said, come on. He said, you might run over here, but you will limp back. I said, okay, Eddie. Eddie Sanders said, I ain't scared of you. You run over here, you gonna limp back, young man. You know, young broom sweep clean, but old broom nowhere to go. So this is a historic time. I'm watching this. I'm pulling for the Ukrainians. And you know, the Orange Man and all his munions and these, you know, these spineless people today, they should write a book called Profiles in Cowardice. I remember a book was written called Profiles in Courage. But we're living in a time, we got politicians talking out both sides of their neck because they're afraid of the Orange Man. And I've said to you, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. You have something special. You have greatness in you. Look around at the people in your life. Who is it that you need to build a deeper relationship with? And who is it that you need to walk away from those relationships? Why? Because they're not good for you. They bring no value in your life. I'm cleaning house. You hear me? I'm cleaning house because I found myself giving more in a relationship and they brought zero. There are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. And you have to ask yourself the question, in these places where we are right now, you got to ask the question, who should I count on? And who should I count out? Who should I count on and who should I count out? And as you look at yourself, look at your goals and look at your dreams, you want to watch people. Give them 90 days to prove who they are. Watch and observe them. Don't just take any and everybody in. Something Jim Rohn said. He said, you look your life and he said, it's either a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do or an example of what to do. Even when this is over, Orange Man's boyfriend, Putin, he has now jacked himself up. He's in a corner right now. And he had short thinking and said, you know what? I had no idea what I was doing, what I did then. He's thinking about how can I save face? But see, there's some kind of damage that you can do that won't be forgotten. Even if they stop right now, people are not going to forget this. No, he's going to be paying for this until he takes his last breath, and the people who supported him in that. So it's very important. Do unto others as you will have others to do unto you. Go, Ukrainians, go, go, go. That's what I'm talking about. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story. and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now. No, they gonna win. They will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The world is standing with you.
That it's necessary for us to begin to look at the future and know that it's possible that we can have our dream. Yes, it is. Other people have done it, then we can do it. We fail a lot of times. Well, a lot of other folks fail, and eventually they came back and they succeeded. So it's possible we can have what we want. And we know that we want to get it. It's necessary that we align ourselves with people that think like we do. It's necessary we get negative, do-nothing people out of our lives. It's necessary we never stop learning and growing and developing ourselves. It's necessary that we never give up. We know that it's you, it's me. It's being responsible for our stuff and deciding that we're going to keep on keeping on, and that we're going to find a way to win or find a way to make it happen. And we know it's hard. It's not going to be a picnic. Yes, it's hard, and we will do it hard. And once we do it hard and we go through it, we realize it was worth it. And once you discover it was worth it, it is done. It's done. It's done, ladies and gentlemen, before it happens. Well, here's what I'm suggesting to you. That when you're working, you have a wall to break through. Let's say a friend of mine who runs a marathon, and he says, when he's running the 26-mile marathon, he said, let's say that hypothetically, that 18th mile is the wall. He said, Les, when you get there and you're running, he says, everything in you is telling you to stop, to give up. Every muscle is aching, and you're saying to yourself, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you just keep on and you keep on and you keep on. It seems like you're moving at slow motion. And then eventually when you break through that 18-mile wall, then you know it's like done and you're on automatic and you glide on in. And you know it's there. You know you're going to get to the finish line. And we've all had experiences where we were working on something and we knew it was possible. And we did those things that were necessary to bring it into reality. We took the responsibility to make it happen. Other people couldn't see it. A lot of people didn't believe it. You were attacked. You were criticized. People were opposing you, but you kept on doing it. It was hard. It was rough. It was difficult. But to you, it was worth it. And eventually you got to a level you know, can nothing stop me now. I'm on the move. I'm on the move. Finally, I'm thinking about a friend of mine who is no longer operating on this dimension. His name is Jack Boland. He had this vision of a church that would serve various types of needs for people. Their supportive needs and helping them in recovery from drugs and alcohol and whatever addictions that they might be involved in. And he was known for bringing in different kinds of speakers. And over a year ago, he was diagnosed as having cancer, and he announced to his congregation that he's going to be taking chemotherapy, and that it was a possibility that the cancer would go in remission, and he was optimistic about that. And sure enough, it did for a year. And one of the things Jack always talked about is that he wanted to have his funeral while he lived. And so he invited a few friends, Wayne Dyer and myself and a few other speakers. He didn't tell us why we were there, but once we gathered there, the church, they told us in the room that Jack is going to announce to the congregation, he's bringing his doctor up. The doctor is going to say that we felt we could keep it in remission. It's out of remission, and he doesn't have much time left. And whatever words you want to say to Jack that you would say if he had made his transition, speak those words now. Well, we were shocked and we were somewhat stunned until Jack got there. They brought him in a wheelchair, and boy, was he courageous, and he had a strong smile, and they helped him up the steps, and he sat behind the podium. And each of us got up and we said a few things about Jack and the impact that he made on our lives. And he said, the doctor, after announcing that Jack didn't have long, he says, doctor, he said, I accept what you say, but it's possible that does not have to be the case. But if it is, I will enjoy life to the very last breath I take, even the chemotherapy. I will enjoy that. And Jack did, ladies and gentlemen. And when they said that all of his vital organs were failing, they called his family and his close church staff to the hospital and said he's dying. And so they came and they all gathered in the room. And Jack at that time was unconscious. And he gained consciousness. And he looked at them and he said, with what strength he had, he said, I want to thank you all for being here. You've been a great staff to me. He looked at his sons, his daughter. He said, you've been a great family. He said, don't feel sorry for me. He said, I'm ready to go. I'm looking forward to the next adventure. And he sat there for a little while, laid there, and he closed his eyes, and he lost consciousness. About an hour and a half later, he opened his eyes, and he looked at them. He said, this is embarrassing. I'm not dead yet. They were laughing through their tears. They said, Jack, you are a character. He said, hey, I hate giving up this kind of control. So they predicted that Jack would die at the end of February. And then on the 2nd, they said, he won't see the light of day. He will be dead by morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack died on March 4th. And we believe that even in his dying, Jack sent his congregation a message that I want to give to you with his permission. March 4th is the day he died, and we believe Jack was saying, March 4th. So I say, as you look into the future, while other people are giving up, feeling like victims, feeling powerless, becoming negative, turning on each other rather than to each other, feeling that they can't make it, be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind with the mindset of that it's possible that we can save this generation. It's possible that we can create new industries, a new economy. It's possible that I can find a new profession, a new job. It's possible I can create a new life. And it's necessary that I become actively involved in becoming a positive force in my life and on the planet. And it's me, yes, it's you, it's all of us pulling together, working together to create this brand new future. And it's going to be hard. Easy is not an option. But if it's hard, we will do it hard. Whatever is required to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. And it's worth it. Yes, it's worth whatever we have to do. And once we know that, it is done. It is done. It is done. It is done.
I'd like to ask whether or not you have goals, but I want to ask you another question. How many of you know that if you had your life to live over again, you could do more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. Now, that proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only a tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. So I want you to think about some goals that you'd like to achieve, and I'd like for you to, let's say, break them up in 3 categories. Number 1, I want you to think about some personal goal you'd like to achieve. And I'd like for you to think about some career goal, some business goal that you'd like to achieve. And I want you to think about some social contribution, some impact you'd like to make with your life. It was Horace Mann who said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. I believe we live in the greatest country in the world that gives us an opportunity to leave our mark, to make a statement with our lives. And as you think about these goals, whatever those goals are, I want you to dramatically increase those goals. And I want to warn you, I don't want you to think about how you're going to do it. How is none of your business. The most important thing is just to increase those goals dramatically. I've found that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. and many don't aim at all. So raise the bar on yourself and don't ask how you're going to do it. I'll never forget when I decided that I wanted to become a motivational speaker. I saw the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, and my heart said, I can do that. But my mind asked the question, how? And for over 14 years, I would go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale and Jim Rohn and different speakers, and I would be in the audience, and my heart would pounce and say, you can do that, Les. And then when I would leave, I would be going to the parking lot, and my mind said, how are you going to do it? And I spent so many years trying to figure out how. I wasted 14 years. How many of you ever procrastinated? Raise your hands, please. Yeah, see, so as you begin to think about your goals, the most important thing is, and write this down, commit yourself. See, once you commit yourself, the how will come, the way will come. Once you commit yourself, you will then figure it out. And if you're going in the wrong direction, all you have to do is turn around and go in the other direction. You will figure it out. You want to begin to just challenge yourself. You want to stretch yourself because you really don't know what you can't do. I'll never forget the first day that I met Mr. Washington. I was born in a poor section of Miami, Florida called Liberty City. I was born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother. And when we were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted. And when I was in the 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade. And I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. I don't have any college education, but because of my mother, and I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. I saw a sign once that said that God took me from my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. So my first major goal was to buy my mother a home, to take care of my mother. And I did that, took care of her until she passed at 88. But I'll never forget when I met Mr. Washington. I was in a class waiting on another student, and he came in and he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for us. I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. He said, why? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. Go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, sir, I can't do what you're asking me to do. He said, why? Sir, because I'm educable, mentally retarded, sir. And as the students erupted in laughter, he came from behind his desk, he looked at me and he said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And that was a turning point in my life. On one hand, I was humiliated. But on the other hand, I was liberated. Because he looked at me with the eyes of Goethe, who said, look at a man the way that he is. He only becomes worse. But look at him as if he were what he could be. Then he becomes what he should be. And so Mr. Washington, he challenged me. And I want to challenge you right now about raising your goals. And I want you to shake someone's hand on your right and left, look them in the eyes and say, stretch yourself. Yeah, see, I think that you really have to stretch yourself to discover your stuff. I think that we have to really begin to experiment with life. When I said that you have something special, I didn't say that just to be kind of courteous. You do. See, I think that there are not many people that come to seminars or workshops or will watch a program of this nature. Why? I just think that most people are just satisfied to where they are. I'm reminded of a man one day. He was walking down the street and he passed his porch where some people were on the porch talking, and there was a dog moaning and groaning. And he was curious why the dog was moaning and groaning. And he went back and he said, excuse me, he asked the owner, why is the dog moaning and groaning? Guy said, because he's laying on a nail. He said, well, why won't he get off? He said, it's not hurting bad enough for him to get off. Just hurting bad enough to moan and groan. How many of you know people who should be here? Raise your hands, please. How many of you know people all they do is moan and groan? Moan and groan. I'm not making enough money. Moan and groan. I'm unhappy with my job. 87% of people go to jobs that they hate. And in addition to that, you know, as we know that we have the dubious distinction in this country that on Monday morning, the heart attack rate increases over 35%. On Monday morning between 6 o'clock and 9, people going to jobs that they hate. The heart said, didn't I tell you I didn't want to go? And attack them. Some of you don't want to go to work next Monday. So the thing is this. So you want to find out what resonates with you. What is it you really want to do? You want to experiment with life and find out what fits for you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. See, I believe that anybody through observation and practice can perform at the level of excellence. But when you're pursuing your greatness, and this is worth writing down, you don't know what your limits are, and you act like you don't have any. So I say to you, you have something special. You have greatness within you. And I want to make 4 things clear. Number 1, everything that I'm going to say, you already know it. If what I share, the message that I'm going to express right now and share with you, if it wasn't a part of who you are already, you wouldn't be in the audience. That's number 1. That's very important. It's already in you. I'm going to only confirm and validate that which is a part of you anyhow. The second thing is, everything I'm going to say to you, you've heard it before. From people with college degrees and credentials, I can't hold a candle to. It's common sense, but not common practice. Third thing is, I don't want you to agree with me, and I don't want you to believe me. I just want you to be open to some things right now. I want you to think beyond that which is commonly allowed. And I'm going to tell you what I'm up to. I want you to think about your goals, and I want to tell you what I'm going to do right now. Now, my whole goal is to get past your mind. That's my whole challenge, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm going to do that. See, your assignment was to show up. My assignment is to get past your mind and get into your heart. Once you think about the goals that you want to achieve, and I really want to challenge you to make up your mind that you're going to make that happen for yourself. And I hope that it's some goal that really resonates with who you are. When I was a little boy, my goal was to just buy groceries for our family. My mother worked on Miami Beach. She was a domestic worker. And my goal was to really be able to go to the grocery store and purchase groceries ourselves. The families knew that my mother had adopted 7 children. And so they said, Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can take that home to the children. They were very kind, very, very considerate people. My mother, who when she worked on Miami Beach, the people were very kind. I was appreciative of their generosity. But as a little boy, I said, Mama, one day, when I become a big boy, I'm going to be able to buy groceries for us. My goal as a little boy was to buy clothes for my brothers and sisters. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that Mama babysat for when she went over in Miami Beach. And if the clothes were too small, she would let them out. And if they were too large, Mama could sew and take them up. And I'll never forget David Sidursky. His father was very wealthy. Mama worked for him, but David was my buddy. And so his father gave him 2 gifts for his birthday. Gave him a brand new boat, but he also gave him some motivational tapes. Earl Nightingale, I'll never forget. So he said, David, man, let me tell you something. When I die, you're going to get everything. I want you to listen to these tapes. And when his father left the room, David threw those tapes in the wastebasket. I said, David, could I have those tapes? He said, yes. I said, man, your father said, if you listen to these, you can get more and do more than what he's done. He said, look, I'm going to get everything anyhow. Go ahead, take them. I told my children, I'm not leaving them anything. You know, if I had a quarter and thought I was going to die, I'll swallow it. Write this down. It's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. Not what you leave for them, what you leave in them. No, absolutely not. I'll tell you something else happened. I never forget. Mama came home one day and said, Leslie, David sent you a new pair of shoes his father got for him. I said, oh, Mama, thank you so much. I can't wear David's shoes. I said, why? Well, you tell my buddy that, I wear size 9.5. He wears size 9. She said, boy, shut up, sit down, and put those shoes on. She said, Marianne, go get some Vaseline. And she came in there, and my sister started rubbing the Vaseline on my feet. And she said, run some water in the bathtub. And she's now go in there and put your feet in those shoes and don't mash the heel down. I said, Mama, shut up, boy, don't mash the heel down. And then she had me to get in the bathtub. I said, Mama, these shoes hurt. She said, get in there and walk around in the water. And I'm walking around the bathtub. Then she tried to distract me. I knew what she was doing. How'd you do at school today? I did good. Did you get in any fights? No, ma'am. You know you fought somebody. Well, I only hit 3 people today. and then after a while, she said, how you doing? I said, well, they hurt. Do they hurt as bad as they were before? No, ma'am, they feel a little bit better. Keep on walking, keep on walking. And then after a while, when the leather soaked up the water, the leather began to stretch to a perfect 9.5. You think Fortune 500 companies started talking about doing more with less? My mother been doing that for a long time. It's amazing what you can do. But who would have thought, anybody looking in on this kid and these 7 children, who would have thought? And I look at you, I say, you have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. No one could have convinced me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now. The easiest thing I do every year is go into a sales organization and dramatically increase their sales, or go into a prison and enable prisoners to see themselves differently and teach them the methods and techniques of how to plug into the system, or motivate young people to begin to see how they can have a vision of themselves in the future and fit. That's the easiest thing I do, or train a speaker to help them to leverage their experience as a speaker and say, look, speaking is a projection of who you are, not who you think you ought to be, and come with power from a platform. That's the easiest thing I've ever done. Let me share with you the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do what I'm now doing. No one could have convinced me, just given my circumstances. I earn millions of dollars every year. No one could have convinced me. If both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. No one could have convinced me, being labeled educable, mental retarded, born in an abandoned building on the floor in Liberty City, poor section of Miami, Florida, failing twice in school, no college training, never worked for a major corporation. I did not know I can do what I'm doing right now. I'll never forget Mike Williams, my mentor. I think a lot of people fail in life because of the fact that they need some mentoring. They need some coaching. Repeat out to me, please. You need some coaching. Yeah, see, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. I remember Mike saying, Les, you can do this. Mike, how, man? Wait a minute, Mike. How much am I going to be able to charge, Mike? Les, you could start out at $1,000 an hour. Mike, I don't make that working for 2 weeks. Come on, Mike. Man, I appreciate your belief in me, Mike. Look, Mike, I work for the Miami Sanitation Department, man. I've been a garbage collector. I've done door-to-door sales. That was great, and I'm here as a disc jockey. That's good, Mike, but Mike, I don't think I can do that. Les, you can. But Mike, I don't have any credentials. I've never written any book, anything, man. I'm not rich. How can I teach somebody to do something I've never done? But Les, why don't you just test yourself? Why don't you stretch, Les? Come on, man. Mike, I don't know. And here's something I realized. Write this down. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I respect Mike Williams. Here, this young man, he saw something in me that I didn't see it, and strong analytical mind. And I looked at him. I always respected his thinking. And he looked at me and he made me feel special. And I said, okay, Mike. And I just kept holding on to what Mike said to me. I just kept holding on to what Mr. Washington said to me. I kept holding on to my mother saying, "You're special, Leslie," when they said you're educable, mentally retarded. Mama didn't know what that meant. She only had a third-grade education. So she said, "He'll be all right, or the hard head make a soft behind. He'll be fine." But she said, "You're special, baby. You are special." And they kept saying that over and over again. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. And so here's what I want you to do. Let us say together, as you think about your goals and your dream, let us say together, "It's possible." Together, please. It's possible. Say it like you mean it. It's possible. Thank you. Write that down. See, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, young man who wrote a book about success principles of the three little pigs. He said, "It's not what you don't have, it's what you think you need that keeps you from being successful or happy in life." It's not what you don't have. See, I was focused on what I didn't have. Don't have a college degree, don't have any credentials, never worked for a major corporation. I was focused on the negative things. It said negative things are the things that you see when you're not focused on your goal. What do you come with? What is it that you have within you that you showed up to bring? "Hey, Les, you don't know, but my dream is a long shot. A friend of mine, Dexter Yeager, said when the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter." I'm reminded of a great man when I was reading Time magazine talking about some of the great minds of the last century. They didn't mention his name, Dr. Howard Thurman, one of the mentors of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and also an advisor to Mahatma Gandhi and Albert Schweitzer. And he said, the ideal situation for a man or woman to die is to have family members standing around their bed praying with them as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed and standing around your bed, the dreams given to you by life, the ideas that you never acted on, the talents, the gifts, the abilities that you never used. And there they are, standing around your bed, looking at you with large, angry eyes, saying, "We came to you, and only you could have given us life. And now we must die with you forever." And the question is, if you died this very moment, what will die with you? What dreams? What ideas? What talents? What leadership potential? What greatness that you showed up to bring, that you allowed fear or procrastination to hold you back? Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote the words, "Oh God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you've never lived, only to realize that you've never scraped the surface of your potential." Repeat after me, please, with power, feeling, and conviction. I refuse to die an unlived life. Yes, shake someone's hand on your right and left and say, "Live your dream." Yeah, I think we should all resolve. I refuse to die an unlived life. Don't worry about the odds. You survived 1 out of 40 million sperms. You will never have those odds again. You beat those odds, you can win anything. Something else stops most people. You know what it is? Failure. Let us say together, I will fail my way to success. Yes, write that down. I will fail my way to success. See, 8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. And I believe that the reason that most people go so far in life, and stop, Maya Angelou said it best. She wrote a poem. She said that most people go so far in life and then they park. They pull off the highway of life, especially when they get some hits, especially when they've been rejected, especially if they have an illness, especially if they lose something. They park. And I take it further. They don't even turn on their emergency lights. It's not because that they are broken down. They don't want anybody to stop and say, hey, look here, I've got some jumping cables in my trunk. You need a jump? Hey, look here, there's a service station ahead about 3 or 4 miles. I have a can. I can take you up there and get some gasoline. Oh, no, I'm just fine. I had a talk show once, and highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of television. Well, at least I had one. And I was excited. You know, when the time I came into television years ago, television was based upon conflict and controversy. So I said, I want a solution-oriented talk show. First concept of that kind. High ratings. And the syndicators say, you just got lucky. Come on, let's do these other type of shows. You can be a Jerry Springer. Oh, no, that's not why I came here. No, I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world where we should hold ourselves to certain standards. I'm not going to come here and sell out on who I am. I'm not going to compromise. I'm not going to lower my standards for you. No, that's not why I showed up. And so they fired me. Security walked him out. I said, I can walk by myself. But let me tell you what happened. I took a hit and I parked. It wasn't that I didn't have the ability to do more. My concept was good. But what happened when I took the hit, when they canceled the show, I canceled myself. When they said the show is going to be taken off television, it won't work, I told myself, Les, you can't succeed in television. And I parked. You know what I did? I went back to my comfort zone. As a motivational speaker, at least I'm doing better than most people. That's nothing to compare yourself to worse that other people are doing and then make yourself feel better. No, I parked. I didn't have my emergency lights on. I didn't want to show up on the radar. I parked. You know how long I parked? I parked for 10 years. Do you hear me? Now, unlike Regis Philbin, when his shows were canceled, he kept going. He kept going. He kept going. And he got other shows. I bet you somebody gave him a push. Somebody said, hey, you need a lift? I didn't even make that an option for me. I got off the highway, I went back to my comfort zone, and I parked. The show failed, and I identified myself as a failure. And guess something happened. One day, just flipping the channels, looking at PBS, and saw Wayne Dyer, my friend Wayne Dyer. And boy, I said, wait, we're both in our 60s. Wayne is still doing it. Wow, the little hair he has, it's gray, he's still there. I said, hey, I've got some more stuff in me. I've got another PBS special in me. I've got some other ideas. You know, Oprah and Phil, they're doing my stuff. Maybe I need to come back out here. And I went back and started calling PBS and different people. They said, Les, what happened to you? I said, well, I didn't know whether or not anybody would be interested in me because the show was canceled. No, you had some good ideas. And when they said, yeah, we would love to do a show with you, I said, you would? They said, yes. And when I went into the studio and people that worked with 10 years ago, they were still there. And I said, guys, you know, do you guys still have it? They said, we have it. Do you have it? I said, I think so. And I did the show, and I wasn't as good as I was 10 years ago because I was off the highway. I'd gotten off the highway of life. I'd been parked for so long, it's taken me some time to get my strength back, to find my power, to get my confidence back. But at least I'm back out there in the game, determined to dry empty. So I say to you, see, I only attract millionaires or millionaires in training. Just going to get that in a minute. You have something special. You have greatness within you. And the only reason you are here, you are my assignment. You can feel me. Some of you feel me right here in your heart of hearts. And my goal is to get past your mind and into your heart. So it's necessary that you have the mindset that I can do this. You've got to begin to believe and to fortify that belief and feed that belief by listening to tapes, going to seminars and workshops, by challenging yourself, by stretching yourself. It was Osborne who said, unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. And as you begin to challenge yourself, you'll discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. The other thing is you begin to look at yourself, look at your dreams, and begin to experiment and stepping into your greatness. One of the things that's very important, whatever goals and dreams that you have, repeat after me, please. Make your move before you're ready. You have Price Pritchett, who's a great motivator and trainer. He said, make your move before you're ready. We're instructed in life to walk by faith and not by sight. See, you want to really begin to stretch yourself. You want to become a risk taker. You want to raise the bar on yourself. Most people won't do that. See, most people engage in low-life living, low-risk living. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I like what Helen Keller said, life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first. And so, you want to begin to take some chances. You want to begin to challenge yourself and make it okay to fail and learn from your failures. Don't allow fear of failure and the allure, the attractiveness of playing it safe in life